Mario Kart is a series that needs no introduction. Starting from the original SNES game and making its way to the Switch 2 in an open world format, Mario Kart is widely considered as one of, if not the most famous racing franchise in the world. Whether you're racing through the sugary Choco Mountain, or the chaotic streets of Mushroom City, or the magnificent odyssey of Rainbow Road, each Mario Kart entry holds a special place in all of our hearts. And if you've been a fan of the franchise for the same duration of time I have, you may have one of these as your favourite in the series. And whilst I consider these games to be my favourites, there's an objectively different answer. What was once just an inclusion in the series on the Wii U has now become not just the best Mario Kart experience to date, but arguably the greatest racing game of all time. This is a love letter to Mario Kart 8. It's hard to capture what makes Mario Kart 8 feel like such a masterpiece of a game. Initially released back on May 30th, 2014, the game immediately became a hit, selling over 8 million copies on a console that sold just 13.56 million, meaning over half of all Wii U owners had this game. This was when I first experienced it, and I remember being instantly enamored by it. I probably sunk over 100 hours into the original, and I credit it for being the game that kept me playing my Wii U longer than I really thought I would. But upon the reveal of the Deluxe version at the Switch announcement conference in January 2017, I knew I was about to play this game even more. The decision to make the newly improved battle mode the very first part of the trailer was an amazing decision that I personally found super meaningful as someone who had missed the good old days of Mario Kart Wii and DS's battle modes. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves. I've got a lot I need to talk about with this game, so I've categorised each element of discussion into segments for your viewing pleasure. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe launched on April 28, 2017, just 2 months after the initial launch of the Switch. The game launched with all 48 courses from the original, including all the previous DLC, the newly enhanced battle mode which I'll speak more on soon, as well as a handful of new characters. And this character roster has always felt strange to me. At the start, the game featured all the familiar faces you would come to expect, as well as the fresh faces of King Boo, Dry Bones, Inkling Boy and Girl, as well as my favourite Mario character of all time, Bowser Jr. Despite loving the new inclusions though, I can't help but feel like the original set of characters was one of the worst we've had in the series. Having 7 slots for the Koopalings instead of them being variants of each other was something that had always confused me. And on top of that, who actually gives a flying fuck about Pink Gold Peach? I never see anyone race with this character online, and they felt like such a throwaway when we could have had people like Rob for Mario Kart DS, or Honey Queen. They did also add Gold Mario as an unlockable character by winning all 12 base cups in 200cc, but who is actually ever going to play as him? Despite my complaints though, they did lift my disappointment out of the ground when we were given new characters with the 2022 DLC Booster Course Pack, finally letting us play as Diddy Kong, Pauline, Peachette, Kamek, Wiggler, P.T. Piranha, Birdo, and the most iconic character in the franchise, Funky Kong baby. These additions now make Mario Kart 8 the best game in the series for character selection. There's just so much variety in these characters, and the addition of colour variants and amiibo costumes only added more to that. But what's a cool character without a cool kart? Following in the footsteps of Mario Kart 7, the 8th game brought back kart customization, and cranked that bitch to the max. I absolutely love how much effort went into the vehicle parts in this game. The sheer quantity of karts, bikes, ATVs, tyres and gliders on top of the character selection means you have, according to a random Reddit post I found, 3,098,370 possible combinations. That's a lot. Deluxe added the Koopa Clown from Mario Kart 7, 2 new ATVs themed after the Splatoon series, as well as the DLC from the Wii U version. Which, speaking of that, can we take a moment to process this being a reality? I remember when this announcement first came out and I honestly thought it was a joke from Nintendo. Imagine telling a kid in the late 90s that in 15 years they'd get to drive a 300 SL Roadster around Toad's Turnpike. It would have been funny to witness these cars become the meta and seeing them all over the online lobbies. But on top of all of these though, Nintendo later added 3 more Legend of Zelda items based on Breath of the Wild in the 1.6 update, which was just incredible. My all-time favourite combo was Bowser Jr. with the Buggy Bud, Roller Tires and the Cloud Glider. Such an amazing combo for high acceleration players. And one thing many of you might not even know about is that there are more than just these statistics involved when it comes to creating an effective combo. You must also consider hidden stats such as airspeed and anti-gravity handling, and especially the mini turbo stat, which is arguably the most important stat in the game, and it's just totally hidden from view. It doesn't look like Mario Kart World is rectifying this issue either, which is unfortunate as I think it's necessary for more skilled players to be able to see these stats, and it's not as if Nintendo forces them down your throat anyway, since you can toggle them on or off on the selection page. I'm still going to miss this screen though. I think the level of control you have when it comes to your combo is incredible, and one of my favourite features that's ever been added to a racing game. And this is great and all, but what about the... Now, I'm not sure if what I'm about to say is a hot take or not, but I think the original Mario Kart 8 track selection is much weaker than its predecessors. The original 8 cups always felt like a mixed bag, with not a single one going 4 for 4 in my opinion. There are certainly some standouts though. Mario Kart Stadium is an amazing introduction to the game that does a fantastic job at showcasing the new anti-gravity mechanic, whilst being a super fluid track to drive on anyway. Swamp Ruins has a stunning runic visual style that makes me feel like I'm exploring an Uncharted game in a kart. Sunshine Airport is a strangely perfect track that never feels boring to play, and the idea of driving around an airport in general is just a great idea for a circuit. And Mount Wario is a high octane dash down a dangerous mountain that tests players of all skill levels, making it one of the best tracks to pick for online play. But besides that, I really don't feel super strongly about the rest of these inclusions. I love the vibes of Toad Harbor, Dolphin Shoals, Electrodrome and Bowser's Castle, but some of these tracks aren't that memorable outside of that. Water Park might be the most boring track in the entire series, Bone Dry Dunes is my least favourite track in all of Mario Kart, and Rainbow Road has an awesome identity to it, but the track itself isn't that great. I honestly find myself having more fun with the retro courses like GBA Mario Circuit, N64 Royal Raceway, and N64 Rainbow Road, which is easily the best remake of a pre-existing track Nintendo has ever done. It just looks and plays amazingly. Thankfully they did go on to rectify my original issues by adding 4 new cups as DLC, including some of the best tracks in the game like GCN Yoshi's Circuit, Hyrule Circuit based off The Legend of Zelda, and of course Big Blue, an exhilarating descent down an F-Zero based track that at 200cc feels wildly engaging. But then out of seemingly nowhere, we got 12 new cups, 48 new courses, double the amount of tracks. The Booster Course Pass seemingly revived this game for me after I slowed down with it from about 2019 to late 2021. Released in 6 waves over the course of 2 years, these new cups brought so much extra replay value to a racing game I had already sunk well over 200 hours into at that point. I think we can all agree that whilst yes, adding 42 new tracks into the game was fantastic, some of these choices were just odd. When 3DS Toad Circuit was introduced as part of the first wave of tracks, me and many others were kind of just confused because it's literally a track with about 6 turns. Somehow though, it ended up being a surprisingly fun track. Rosalina's Ice World was another strange one for me. It was very easily one of my least favourite tracks in 7, and it being re-added didn't change how I felt about it at all. There was also a lot of controversy surrounding the tour tracks in the DLC. People really didn't like how tracks like Paris Promenade and Tokyo Blur played, calling them lifeless and uninteresting, but I never really had a problem with these tracks, especially Tokyo Blur. Me and that track have a special connection. The one justified complaint I can agree with though, is that they did not put enough effort into these remakes. Compared to the base game, every track in the DLC feels unfinished, with super bland textures and boring lighting dynamics that don't give them that same immensely detailed feeling the other tracks do. I care very deeply about the visuals of these tracks, and the DLC really let me down in that department. It's very good that we got some classics like Maple Treeway and Wii Rainbow Road returning though, even if they aren't as enjoyable as their original versions. We also got 3 entirely new tracks, being Sky High Sundae, Yoshi's Island, and Squeaky Clean Sprint, the latter of which being a very vibrant and unique course that feels reminiscent of Ribbon Road in its Ant-Man-like feel. Yoshi's Island is practically its own game, with different coin icons and map items that give it a larger than life feel. And of course we have Sky High Sundae, easily the most disappointing new entry we got. It's literally 2 turns. It's just Baby Park with less soul and lower gravity. But despite some of these duds, I can't help but say that as with the character choices, the choices for the tracks in this game are once again the best in the series. There's just so much content in these tracks, and learning most of them for the first time was one of my favourite ways to spend my time when every wave dropped in the DLC. I did a fair bit of time trialling on Shroom Ridge, Mario Circuit 3, Peach Gardens, and what soon became my most played course in the entire game, Tokyo Blur. Because of Nintendo being annoying and unable to program basic statistics into their games, I'm not able to check how long I've spent on this track alone, but it's probably close to 100 hours. Call me crazy, stupid, maniacal, whatever you want. For some reason, I just love Tokyo Blur. It's aesthetically not as cool as it should be considering it's based on the Japanese capital and Nintendo is a Japanese company, but my god is this track so much fun to time trial. The high speed low acceleration combo you use feels chunky and strong as you practically force your car to turn at certain points. The immediate launch from the first mushroom into the tight corners where you have to grab these coins is so much harder than it looks. There's so many turns which require the highest level of precision possible, with many outcomes being dictated by what moment you began the drift rather than the control of your drift, which feels different to many other courses. I win this track practically every time when I play it online because it's so baked into my muscle memory. At the time of writing this video, my time isn't as impressive as it once was, being now a full second off the current world record. But at the time of me achieving a 59.759, that was about 6/10 of a second slower than the record, which I couldn't have been happier about, especially since I didn't even use Motion Glider at the end to save extra time. I remember the moment it happened when I was on a call with my friend and running practically on autopilot. It was just a great moment, and one that made me fall back in love with this game after mostly neglecting it for years after I got my PC. Unfortunately, I was never able to improve on that time, and my result got further and further away from the record, but I was still satisfied with my accomplishment. Some of my other favourite tracks to time trial in the game were Electrodrome, Yoshi Circuit, Mute City, Royal Raceway, Tick-Tock Clock, Big Blue, Waluigi Pinball, and N64 Rainbow Road. As an April Fool's joke in 2015, Nintendo thought it would be funny to add a brand new speed class to the game, 200cc. This mode is 150% faster than 150cc and causes acceleration to be rapidly different. It also added a braking technique to the game, which is basically required if you want to be any good in this class, and this combined with Deluxe's purple mini turbo has made 200cc my main area of expertise. I think it's not only the most enjoyable way to play Mario Kart, but it's also the most unpredictable and the most skillful. If you get good at 200cc, you automatically become a skilled player overall. This CC allows you to experience each track in a new and interesting way that doesn't give you much breathing room, making it so much fun to time trial. This mode is so insane that Nintendo had to adjust 21 of the tracks to even make them playable. That's how insane 200cc is. I really wish they made 200cc its own separate mode online like they did with single player, instead of it just being a random race from time to time, although I'm thankful for the tournament mode being included as a good enough subsidiary for it. Mario Kart World does have me really worried we won't see this class return again, but I'm really hoping it does because I've never had more fun in a franchise than this. And 200cc was also my introduction into competitive Mario Kart. Just after my COVID Animal Crossing phase, I became heavily into Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's competitive scene, watching thousands of YouTube videos on it and constantly learning new tricks to push me ahead of the pack. I didn't ever focus on motion gliding, but I spent a great deal of my time learning coin placements, item control, faster trick ramps, bullet bill extension modes, and more. Unlike a lot of competitive players though, I never enjoyed bagging, regardless of if it was a beneficial way to win a race or not. I find bagging to kind of take away from what Mario Kart is at its core, a game about driving fast and staying in first. Bagging definitely takes skill, and I don't want to bash people who do it, it's just not a playstyle for me, which thankfully Mario Kart World is seemingly rectifying. I'm gonna start this off by saying that the Wii U battle mode was absolute dog shit. Having this mode take place on actual tracks rather than specifically designed arenas was the single worst decision made in Mario Kart 8's development. Being able to only play Balloon Battle on these 8 courses just made the mode feel unintuitive and lazy. None of these circuits felt engaging to battle on, and you were mostly relegated to farming for good items and then driving aimlessly around until you had a short encounter with an enemy. And the reception to this mode was unanimously bad, which I think is why they showcased the newly refurbished version immediately when they showcased the Deluxe port. The port actually turned battle mode into a legitimate choice for online play and gave us 5 total modes to play across 8 real battle courses. Whilst I was never much of a fan of Sweet Sweet Kingdom or Battle Stadium, the rest are actually interesting and fun to duel on. Lunar Colony uses the low gravity effect of certain tracks and spins it into a delightful clusterfuck of fun with its constant elevation changes and unique set pieces. Dragon Palace is a condensed temple themed level with lots of open space, leading to constant mayhem flying left from right. And Urchin Underpass is a map from the original Splatoon that has been near unchanged and works perfectly as a battle mode map. And of course we have the game modes. We have the classic Balloon Battle, Bob-on Blast, Coin Runners and Shine Thief, the latter of which being easily my favourite, but we also have a new mode, Renegade Roundup, a cops and robbers mode which sees one team escaping players with a piranha plant at the front of their car trying to trap them. I was never that keen on battle mode overall, but the way they revamped everything was certainly needed, and I've had plenty of funny moments that have come from these concise courts. And what would these places be if they didn't have perfect... Many games on the Wii U didn't take full advantage of the hardware, but not Mario Kart. Still to this day, Mario Kart 8 remains one of the best looking games Nintendo has ever made. Everything from the snow particles to the water drenched over your character after emerging from a pool makes this game still feel brand new all these years later. Sure, Nintendo isn't exactly up to date with modern graphical standards, but their immense attention to detail with their games makes that argument completely void in my opinion. Every track, every character and every item feels carefully crafted to create joy. There's so much vitality in each track, even the ones I think suck like Bone Dry Dunes. Like, as much as I hate Cloudtop Cruise, it looks absolutely astonishing. Every minuscule detail feels perfectly crafted by the developers to make each track as fleshed out as it could possibly be. When you notice the shine on a character's back after being struck by a blooper, or the dust building up on your tyres in a desert level, you just can't help but feel enamoured with each course more so than just racing on it. And tying this in with 8's impeccable sound design is just the cherry on top for this genre-defining game. The soundtrack this game has is up there with some of my favourites in modern gaming history. The opening start screen music to this game is an electrifying orchestral triumph that promptly catapults you into the game you know you're going to have a good time with. The way the guitar and the saxophone build up to the main bounce of the song is one of my most treasured moments in any OST out there. The tropical symphony of Dolphin Shoals creates a chaotically harmonious vibe that reaches its peak as you ascend from the water and you hear Electrodrome uses heavy synths to fully immerse you in a lively nightclub aesthetic. They even did a masterful job at remixing earlier tracks in the series with a brand new fully orchestral band perfectly reimagining some of Nintendo's finest work. 3DS Melody Motorway became even livelier than it was in Mario Kart 7, making it easily one of my favourite tracks in all of Mario Kart just on vibes alone. DS TikTok Clock is a theme tune that's been stuck in my head for the best part of 16 years now, and 8's rendition of it has only led it to stick with me even longer. They didn't even blunder the early and newer DLC tracks either. I mean, just listen to this shit, come on. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is a game I think I'll continue to play for the rest of my life. Despite this feeling at the end of an era, this franchise is more replayable than any other. I care so deeply for this game because it's the Mario Kart I've grown up alongside all of my adolescent and teenage life. It feels hard to quantify what 11 years with a game truly is, but I'm grateful that this is the game I got to evolve with. What began as just another game I fell in love with and used all my free time with, has now become a game I've used for rage, comfort, happiness, sadness, and more. It's a game I cherish deeply because of its staying power, and its ability to keep me engaged with it for so long. I can't wait to see what future joy Mario Kart World brings me, and I feel like it's the right time to pass the torch. But I'm going to miss this game a lot. I'll always go back to it, I'll always still play it, but it will never be the same. And I'll finally be able to say I feel nostalgia for this masterpiece. This was a long journey, but I'm grateful for every step of the way. Mario Kart 8, thank you, and goodbye. Oh my god, I got it. I did it again. 3 records. My fastest. That would have been a point. That would have easily been a 0.6 as well. My lap 2 was so bad. I missed a turbo and I still got a record. I missed a mini turbo. Oh my god. Life is good. Life is so good. Yeah, so I really like Mario Kart, as you can tell. Yeah, this has been such a fun video to just play Mario Kart a bunch and like research about it. Mario Kart World, by the time this video drops, should be out within, well, definitely within the month. And I'm slightly scared for it, because I'm really going to miss this game, and it's going to be very sad, but I'm very hopeful that Nintendo's going to do a great job, and I have full faith in them. In other news, subscribe, like, comment, all of that. Go and follow my Instagram. By the time this video is out, there should be a post on there. Go and follow it to be cool and hip and swag. And thank you Tesco Meal Deal once again for being a member. Take care everyone. I will see you all in the next one. Peace.